Is being recorded on the evening of Thursday, October 19th, 2023. Thanks so much for tuning in. In this video, just going to give a very quick, brief gold and macro update as far as what we've seen happen in the last couple days. So just two charts. One, we'll focus on the macro first. I know this is difficult here. We got 2-year yield, 10-year yield. I mean, way too many things in this screen. Way too many markets or ratios or indicators, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, a month or two ago when I started showing this chart, I was highlighting here where the 10-year yield made this big rise here in 2022. The dollar was rising alongside, I mean, most of the same time. Dollar started moving up first. And as a result, you had the cyclical bear market in the stock market. Which, I mean, maybe this is going to turn into a long cyclical bear market. But anyway, you could say this was, you know, perhaps a bear market if you're a perma bull, or if you want to be more realistic, you could say this is the, you know, possibly the first leg down. So that was driven by a sharp rise in the 10-year yield. And, you know, gold against the S&P, gold against foreign currencies, these things tend to lead gold. So remember, gold bottomed here roughly a year ago. But you already had higher lows, gold against foreign currencies here, gold against the stock market. They made their lows well before the gold price did, in nominal terms, of course. The story now, I think, is the steepening yield curve. And you get the yield curve steepening or, you know, rising through zero, that indicates a recession. Especially, I mean, you need the inversion first. It goes below zero, spend some time there. When it goes above zero, that indicates a recession. So you have some, I mean, if you're just looking at this chart here, you kind of had a breakout through this resistance around minus 0.3 something, a little bit of a pullback. Last couple days, more steepening, minus 0.16. So this is getting really close to going above zero, which again, that's a negative signal generally. That signals a recession after a long inversion. So not good in general, but if you're in precious metals like we are, that is a good thing. So that's good for gold. And I think that's why gold is really starting to perk up here. I mean, this rise here, steepening, I mean, that's good, but you really need to steepen towards zero, get above zero. That's when it's really bullish for gold. So now, if you look what's happening, I mean, we're getting, again, minus 0.60. We're getting much, much closer to going to zero and going above zero. So I think, you know, you have the Middle East situation as well, but the what's going on in the bond market, you know, money coming out of bonds. I mean, gold's been strongly outperforming bonds for a really long time. So you have that. But secondly, again, for the third time, the steepening yield curve, this is really getting close to signaling a recession. And so I think that's what's driving gold more so than the Middle East situation. Now, in 2022, you know, we had this big move. That was all geopolitics. Remember, the Fed was starting hiking around that time. And, you know, the economy, well, let me go back for a second. The Fed started hiking in real interest rates where they started to move up at that point. So that was negative for gold. What's going on now? Well, yeah, you have the Middle East situation, but now the Fed, I mean, they want to be done hiking, but they're going to be in this quandary, you know, between the rock and the hard place, because look here, you have the 10-year yield, you know, it already broke out here. You have a measured upside target of around 5.25, maybe 5.3. You have the 2-year yield is also, I mean, it's moving up a tiny bit, but what's going on is the 10-year yield is going up much faster than the 2-year, and as a result, you see the steepening in the curve. So that's bullish for gold. And, you know, the yellow here, you can see since the 10-year yield started moving up, not good for the stock market. And, you know, especially if this keeps moving up and you get a strong signal of a recession. And, you know, the dollar hasn't really sold off. That's why gold against foreign currencies, this is really close to a new all-time high. So these things here really excite me. You know, a couple weeks ago, I remember writing the update. I mean, this was, you know, gold against foreign currencies is an 8-month low. This is an 11-month low. But those were false breakdowns, just like we had in gold, false breakdowns. And so again, this is now at a multi-month high. Gold against the stock market, this is at a multi-month high. I mean, if you see this continue, up to this very important resistance, 0.50. This continue. I mean, that's going to push gold up to test its all-time high, in my opinion. So the macro, I know I'm repeating myself, but what's going on here, it's starting to be bullish for gold. And here's a gold weekly chart. This long moving average, this is the equivalent of the 40-month. I've talked about this in other videos. Major bottom here, significant bottom here. It didn't quite test it here. Look, this is a false breakdown here because this was 1900, broke below 1900. Well, gold's got a breakdown, or gold's broken down. You have a measured downside target of 1820. It's probably going to go down more. Where could it go? And by the time that happens, you get a fast move after a false breakdown. A little bit of bullish hammer, and boom, we're almost back at 2000. So, I mean, there's a saying that technicians have. It's kind of irritating, but from false moves come fast moves. So this is a false breakdown given how quickly gold has shot up just in the last, 10 or 7 days. So we'll see where gold closes tomorrow. 1985 to 2000. That's significant weekly resistance. But, no big deal if gold pulls back here for a couple weeks or a month or 6 weeks. No big deal. I mean, that would just set up and give it more strength, I think, to, finally make a real breakout here. So that's where we are. A lot more coming over the days ahead. Things are looking much, much better for precious metals. And, we're on that cusp of a major significant breakout in gold. Didn't think I'd be saying that a couple weeks ago. That's all for this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Talk to you guys again in the next video.